Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia is joining me. And Senator, we were talking before the show. I remember sitting with you in January after the Venezuela operation, which seems about 10 years ago now, and you had a very clear strategy to get to this point. At some point, this is the 10th time you and your colleagues have forced a vote on the Iran war powers measure. The first time it succeeded. What do you think changed?
Well, what changed was 100+ days of war convinced Republicans to join Democrats in saying, you're right, this was not only illegal, it was foolish. Some Republicans believe the president has the power to initiate war for 60 days, but then has to seek congressional authorization. Others have been watching as the consequences have been stacking up. 13 U.S. troops dead, more than $50 billion spent on the war, Americans paying more at the gas pump, and the price tag is still being calculated. And I think as time went on, more and more of my colleagues started to join us in voting to rebuke the president and say, this war is unlawful. And Phil, this is a historic vote. Never in the history of the War Powers Resolution have both houses of Congress passed a piece of legislation telling the president, your war is illegal, get out of it unless Congress authorizes it. And the fact that this has been done with 2 Republican majority houses speaks volumes about the way the American public now looks at this very foolish war.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's certainly a very different place than we were in when we were talking about this in January. There's no question about that. But I do think it's worth, just for somebody who's watching this and saying, well, wait, if the White House is saying they're not going to abide by it, and they believe it's unconstitutional, both this concurrent resolution, but also the war powers law in general, what is the kind of mechanism to enforce here?
Well, I'll tell you this, Phil, if they don't start up the war again, and that's what we hope, there may not be a mechanism to enforce and we won't need it. But if they start up the war again, once both houses of Congress have said, hey, Article 1 gives us the power to declare war, you started a war unlawfully, you need to stop it, you're going to see both congressional action and court action to stop this president. We don't expect the president's just going to follow what Congress says. That's not what he does. But he does understand what it means when members of his own party start to defect and say this war is illegal and he should stop it. So I think we're all hoping that the war doesn't start up again. They continue the negotiation. They find a negotiation that enables everybody to move forward, and we put this illegal and foolish war in the rearview mirror. But if they do start up over the vote of Congress, they're going to have a battle on their hands in the court system.
You are a senator who actually has friends on the other side of the aisle and actually works pragmatically on the committees you are on with Republicans and Democrats alike. The fact that there are 4 Republicans here is very notable. My sense of things is there are more who aren't publicly on the whip count yet. Is that a fair assessment of things?
Yes. When we started this, about a month or so after you and I talked, the president went into Iran February 28th. I'd already filed a war powers resolution, so I was able to call up the first vote on March 4. We had 1 vote that day. It took us 5 weeks to get 2, and then a few weeks later to get number 3, and a few weeks later to get number 4. There's another group that I'm talking to that are very much praying that this ceasefire holds, and so they won't have to tell the president, don't go to war. But yes, the American public from day one has thought this war was a really stupid idea, and they've suffered by it. And if the president were to restart again, we're not done. We're gonna take more action, and I do believe there are more votes out there that we can get.
Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely, Phil.